Good morning, Cuero Gobbler fans, and welcome to the Cuero Gobbler Coaches Show. The Gobbler Coaches Show is sponsored by Alpha Life Nutrition, specializing in meal replacement shakes and energy teas. Located at their new location, 106 North Gonzalez Suite, Suite B. Come by, give them a call at 361-935-1703. Alpha Life, the official sponsor of the Cuero Gobbler Show. Thank you all for joining us this morning, and congratulations, Coach, on the win last week. Winning on the road 40-38 versus the Belton Tigers. Hard-fought battle, but can't say enough about that O-line and D-line down in the trenches.
Yep.
Talk to me about that game versus the Tiger and the Crickets.
Yeah, right. We did fight the Crickets that night. When we got there, I know the fans fought them too. When we got there, their Belton's custodial staff was shoveling crickets. They had snow shovels out there under the bleachers, and they were shoveling crickets in the trash cans. I was like, this is crazy. So, no, but you go back to the game, and I think our kids, they battled. We got behind and got behind early, but just kept, inching one play at a time. And when you get behind, it's kind of what you got to do. And we were able to do some things and take control of the game once we got kind of things under control. I really thought, I know, it looks like it 38 points, but our defense played well. We had some special teams blunders that, we're getting better at and working on. And if we don't have those, I think field position-wise and some of the scoring that Belton did wouldn't have been as good of an opportunity. So those are things we fixed. But then when our defense played, I thought they played really hard. I thought Jace Gamez had a really good game. But, part of that is to our D-line keeping, old linemen off of him and him being able to run around and make tackles. And our secondary is getting better every week. They're taking care of the pass game, so it's allowing us to play the run a little bit more, which is good. And then, like you said, when you sit here and you look at the stats and you rush for 405 yards, obviously you got some talented guys running the ball, but you got those 5 or 6 guys in front of them that are really taking care of business. And that's what we knew, coming into this season. Our O-line was going to be a huge strength for us, and they've just gotten better and better each week as we've gotten healthier at the running back position. We've seen those 2 young guys that we got in Davon and Sean Dillon now, starting to come on a little more, which is big. But then obviously Jackson played a big role in our run game too last week. He had 250 yards on the ground himself. And so, we've got some guys that are playmakers back there, and they can do some things and handle some things, and so they've been really well. We're getting better and better at it. But the O-line in Winfield and Carter and Cooper, Tanner Lucas, Jonathan Perez, and Blaine Zingerly, they did a really, really good job. You add a couple more guys in there with our tight ends that are big body kids in Plummer and Stafford and Pelot, and you've got some big bodies up there that can move guys. And, so it really helps us in the run game, because then when you got outside weapons like Walker and Braden and Tony and David and, numerous of those guys, Mays can be a guy that can get out there and play for us. And so, we've got some guys that are good players, and so we can stretch teams vertically, and then, we can run it on the ground. And so, our O-line played really, really well last week. Kept Jackson clean when we needed to throw it, and opened up huge holes when we needed to run it. So,
as a former O-line myself, mostly left out, but as a former O-lineman myself, whenever I see Winfield and Carter pull, I feel like I told Alex last week I could drive a Ford F-150 through some of them holes those guys make. Man, it's very impressive, and they're looking for contact, and that's what I like so much about those 2 guys.
Great football teams and championship football teams obviously have the guys up front. They don't ever get you never see them get much of the credit, but we tell them all the time, that it's kind of like a car and an engine, and I truly believe like those guys are the engine, right? They get the car rolling, and so that's what they're doing on both sides, offensive and defensively. So
we actually gave them the offense player of the game. Man,
I saw that.
They deserved it for sure.
For sure.
There's a lot of good players, and you could almost go every week on giving it to Dietz when he has 2 touchdowns or something, but he wouldn't get the ball if those 5 or 6 guys weren't making the plays before that.
It's a team effort for sure.
Yeah, and then defense size, I think Seals is getting better every week.
Seals has come on. Trevor's come on. And he's one. He can do it. I mean, he's a kid that can do it, and he is. They're getting better. We looked up last these past weeks, and I mean, if you look at the defense and where we're at, really we had two kids coming back from last year. I mean, Trevor was one, and Kaysen was one that had played, and Jace was one that had played, significant time, or downs on the varsity last year. The rest of them, we're talking 7 or 8 kids that they're, again, they're in the 5th game of the season, and most of them, that's how many varsity downs they've played, and so they're getting better every week. We're getting a little healthier, which is huge. That's one thing that we're kind of getting excited about is other than when we snapped the ball, it wasn't even week 1 when we snapped the ball because we lost Kamari in 2 days. We haven't played a game with all, I would say 30. I think we started with about 35 kids that have been healthy.
Yeah.
And so we're slowly getting back there. But that it's going to take a little time too because it's Friday and it's football. So
yeah, you never know what could happen. Any given Friday.
Any given Friday, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, good deal. Good luck. Never mind. Tonight we take on a 4-1 Harlingen Cardinals team that has over 2,600 kids in it. I expect to see some size and speed of a school that size. Coach Gomez and Sterling Tomlin, their stud linebacker, will have that D ready for Cuero's fast-paced offense. Yeah. How do we prepare for those guys?
Yeah, like you said, 31, the Tomlin kid, he's as big a linebacker as we've seen all year long. He roams around. They try to keep him free, so he can make a bunch of the tackles. Coach Gomez does a very good job. I don't know a whole lot of history about the Valley and those schools down there, but I know when you talk to people, Harlingen's one of the better it's a well-coached team, right?
Yeah.
That's what everybody that's told me. It's a well-coached team. Coach Gomez has done a really good job. And so, they're a good football team. They're 4-1. They've got size. They've got some speed. The running back, the Huerta kid, number 22, he's a big old joker too, and runs the ball real hard. They're big up front in the O-line. Their O-line, size-wise, reminds me of a Lavernia that we played a few weeks ago, and they're big. And so, it's kind of funny because not funny, but it's interesting because Coach Gomez called me Saturday and said, Coach, he goes, I just let you know, to be honest, we lost. Our quarterback broke his collarbone on Friday night, and so you'd be facing a backup guy. And so, you go through those things. All teams go through those things. But they've got, I think their quarterback now is a freshman kid, and he's going to be a really good player. And so, we're going to have to play well, like you said. Luckily, they got 2,600 kids in school. Luckily, there's not 2,600 kids on the football team. And they're going to, they got about 60 kids on the roster, it looks like. We're up to close to the 40s now. And so, I mean, you go play. They put their pants on, one leg at a time, just like anybody else does. And so, our kids are fired up about the challenge of being able to – you're not seeing a whole lot of – there's one other 4A through 4A versus 6A battle going this week, and it's Carthage versus San Benito. And so, with the way alignment happened and things like that, and us being in a small district, we had to go find games against other teams that had small districts.
Yeah.
And there's not many. And so that's where we sit here and we are, and so, but like I said, our kids are getting better. We've gotten better. It's our last prep before we get into district play. And so facing a team that's good, it's going to be fun to get them here, and it's going to be a good game. So,
good deal. Good luck tonight. That's to be a 7 p.m. kickoff at Gobbler Stadium this evening for the game between the Cuero Gobblers and the Harlingen Cardinals. I think you'll be able to watch that game live on the CISD Facebook page. The YouTube account got closed down last week while we were in Belton, so we're going to go on the CISD or Cuero ISD Facebook page. Let's talk a little bit about your champion speaker yesterday, Kurt Logging.
Yeah, that was a neat. Mr. Logging came in and he talked about the keys to what a championship football team has, and it was about being a great teammate and commitment. working hard and doing the little things right. And just visiting with Coach Arroyo, it's the first time I'd met him, and visiting with Coach Arroyo about him. He told me he was one of the starting O-linemen on one of the state championship teams when Coach Arroyo played back in '87, and so and he's been successful, in tons of stuff and what he does, and so his message was really, really good. The kid sat there and was very interested in it, and then he got him pumped up at the end a little bit with a little bit of breakout stuff, and so you could tell he was fired up, just being there and excited to be back, in the building and talking to kids that that are playing and representing the C. And so, great message, great speaker, and we appreciate all our champion speakers coming in. I know it takes time out of their day, but man, it's so good for our kids these days to just hear from people that have been successful in life and maybe fought through some adversity, or heck, maybe made mistakes and got back up and were champions in a way. And so I think those are all things we can all hear and learn from. And heck, I take something from it myself every single week.
Yeah, I'd definitely say, again, y'all picked another. You don't call them champion speakers for nothing. They're champions of life.
Exactly.
And he's a perfectly prime example of one. And as they always say, once a gobbler, always a gobbler.
Always a gobbler.
So, yeah, when I run into him, that's majority of our talk is gobbler football.
That's awesome.
or something like that.
Yep.
So, well, good deal. Moving on to other sports. And I know we're both kind of catching up on things. Volleyball now is 2-0 in district. They've won each game in 3 sets.
Yep.
I got a text from Coach Gable, and she told me JV Green is 2-0 and JV White is 1-1. So we wish those girls continued luck too. Yep. Freshman football.
So our sub-varsity teams this week, we were supposed to play Seguin. They had a mix-up on the schedule when I talked to the coach on Monday, and so we weren't able to pick up a JV game, but we picked up a freshman game against LaGrange and went over to LaGrange last night, and they came away with a 44-30 win. They got down 12-0 to start the game and then rattled off 36 straight. It was 36-12 before they could look up. And, man, the improvement with those guys, because we talked about it as 8th graders, that LaGrange team beat these guys by 20. And so, they had 2 stud wide receivers, but our kids battled all night long. We controlled the line of scrimmage. We ran the ball well. Threw the ball. We had 2 fade balls that were caught. And I'm telling you, that bunch is getting better and better in each week. It's fun to watch them because they're getting excited about it. And so look forward to getting started with district play with those guys next week.
Do they? Never mind. That's the JV that kind of does the round robin. I mean, not the JV, junior high.
Junior high, yeah, they do a junior high. They kind of do the round robin in their pool, in their little co-op that we play. And so all those guys played Kingsville on Tuesday and played really well. Kingsville had some big old kids, and so our kids down there are growing and doing well. I know our 7th grade B hasn't lost. Our 8th grade, our 7th grade A, I think, is 1-1, and then our 8th grade B, I think, is 1-1, and then our the other 8th grade team is undefeated, and so the 8th grade A is undefeated, and so got a ton of kids coming up in that bunch, and they're excited to watch too.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some of those kids continue to grow in the next 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
And I know we just got a little update from Coach Van on cross country.
Yeah, cross country's been running. They've got high school track. They're the district on Monday. They will run at Starkey Park at 9:00, and he's excited. At Booster Club, he kind of told us about the junior high side of things and how it's growing. But they ran this past week on Wednesday. They won. We had the 8th grade boy champion. We had the 8th grade girl champion. We had the 7th grade boy champion, and we had the 7th grade girl champion. All district champs. The 7th grade girls won the district championship as a team, and the 8th grade boys won the district championship as a team. So, that junior high or the cross country group is growing. Coach Van and Coach Miller are doing an unbelievable job of growing that program, and so they're looking forward to what it's going to be over the next few years too. Our high school kids, like I said, run at 9:00 at Starkey Park on Monday, so they're fired up about going and those kids competing as well.
We can go watch him and play a round of golf afterwards.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So
like you have nothing to do on a Monday.
I would love to, but we better get ready for. We better take care of business tonight and then get ready for some district opponents. So.
Rockport first district game.
District game. Yep, that's right.
Good deal. Well, good luck, Coach, tonight and moving forward. As always, the Cuero Gobbler Coaches Show is sponsored by Alpha Life Nutrition, specializing in meal replacement shakes and energy teas. Located at 106 North Gonzales. Come by or give them a call at 361-935-1703. Alpha Life, the official sponsor of the Cuero Gobbler Coaches Show. Thank you.
Go Mean Green.